What's going on, everybody? My name is Anthony Reeves, and as always, I'm here to bring you the Legal Beat tip of the day. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what medications tells me regarding the significance of your Social Security case. Now, that's going to sound kind of weird, but I want to make sure that I explain what I'm talking about. As part of the 5 steps sequential evaluation by the Social Security Administration, the second step is, do you have a severe medical condition, whether it be a mental or physical, that keeps you out of work for a period of 12 months or more? So what I do is when I'm evaluating cases, one of the things I'm going to ask you is what kind of medications you're taking. And what your medications are is going to give me a good hint to the degree of severity about your case. Now, I'm not just going to solely rely on your medications, but it is going to give me a good indication. Let me give you an example. We're going to talk about it in 2 categories. One physical and one mental. Now, this is not an absolute, so don't sit here and think just because you have this situation, it's a slam dunk. But there are some things that your medications can tell me as a Social Security attorney about your case. So from a physical standpoint, let's look at the first hand. If you're taking Tylenol, Advil, ibuprofen, that's medication you can get over the counter. That means you can go into the drugstore, you don't need a prescription, and you can just go up, grab it off the aisle, and walk up to the checkout line and walk out the door. If you're taking over-the-counter medication, that does tell me you're in pain or that you have a problem, but it does not give me a feeling that you have a significant problem. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have one. It just means that when I hear medications like those, typically medications you get over the counter, those are things that you're doing to kind of self-treat or self-medicate yourself. So it may give me an indication that there's some things wrong, but I'm probably not going to get really excited just for that by itself. Okay? Now we're going to go from that to the other extreme. Okay? And that is the more significant, what we call controlled substances, the narcotics. That means the Vicodins, oxycodone, hydrocodone, the Percocets. Those are significant medications that typically are not given to you unless it's by a pain management specialist or a neurologist or your primary doctors. They're controlled substances that are being monitored carefully because you can get addicted to them. When I hear people taking that or morphine sulfate patch, stuff like that, that tells me that your pain is very significant and very severe. And what ends up happening is that most of the medications that I haven't just talked about fall somewhere in the middle, like the muscle relaxers, like Flexeril or Soma. You know, so what I tell people all the time is that there's 2 extremes and everything else kind of falls in the middle. Over-the-counter thing tells me that you got some problems, but maybe not as severe. The narcotics tells me that you're on some serious pain, and then everything else kind of falls in the middle. And that's one from a physical standpoint what some of your medications tell me. Now, don't get me wrong, because from the example I just gave you, I just focused on the pain situations. I wasn't talking about medication for high blood pressure. It's the same gambit. Or medications for heart. If I hear that they're telling you to take aspirin for your heart condition, that probably is not going to make me jump. But if they tell me that you're taking nitro patches or they put it on your tongue, that's going to indicate a more severe level of medication for your heart condition. So I tell people that anytime I'm getting medication, I'm looking for the range. Same thing, diabetes. If you're just taking Glucophage or regular pills, that's going to tell me you have diabetes, but it won't be as significant to me as if you told me that you're taking shots and you're doing it 2 and 3 times a day. That's going to tell me something entirely different. So one of the things I tell people is that the medication you take is a good indicator as to the severity of your condition. That's the physical. Then there's the mental. When I'm looking at mental, same thing. Most mental medications you can't take over the counter. But if I'm seeing Paxil or Zoloft, very, very good antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, awesome. But in terms of the severity, it may not catch my attention as much. Okay? However, if you go the more extreme, the Geodones, the Risperdal, which tends to be given for those persons who are hearing voices, seeing things, it's what we call antipsychotics. That indicates a more significant mental condition. So again, same extreme. Geodone, Risperdal, lithium, significant. Paxil, Zoloft, maybe not as much, but it does indicate a problem, and then there's a gambit of them in between. Don't think that what I'm saying again, 2. 1, if you have the great meds, it means you got a slam dunk, or if you have the meds that are not as strong, that you have a weak case. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that gives me a really quick snapshot when I'm talking to you about the significance of your condition. Second of all, don't think that this is the only thing that either myself or other representatives, because I can't speak for how other representatives will evaluate your case, but I will tell you that my experience from talking to other reps, that's not the sole thing they rely on, but it is a good indicator. So just keep those things in mind as you're looking at your case and wondering for yourself how significant your condition is. Your medications can go a long way to talking about and telling people how significant your condition is. My name is Anthony Reeves. This has been proudly brought to you by the Reeves Law Firm, dedicated to representing the disabled and discriminated. Check us out at www.reevesfirm.com, or you feel free to go to my blog at legalbeat.anthonyreeves.com. Have a wonderful day.